Ali Abdullah Saleh, the autocratic former president of Yemen who led the country for 3 decades and held sway over its politics for years afterward, was confirmed to have died Monday after reports of fighting between his supporters and the Houthis, Yemeni rebels with whom he had been previously aligned in the ongoing civil war. Saleh was one of 4 autocrats ousted during the Arab Spring pro-democracy protests that began in Tunisia in December 2010 and eventually gripped much of the Middle East and North Africa. Unlike these other leaders, however, Saleh had continued to be a political force even after leaving office. Egypt. Hosni Mubarak had been a little-known vice president before he assumed Egypt's top office in 1981 after the assassination of Anwar Sadat. Despite his low profile, Mubarak soon displayed skill at deflecting political unrest at home and positioning himself as a key ally of Western powers. Mubarak ruled with an iron fist, and his regime was notorious for human rights abuses and corruption. The Arab Spring reached Egypt in January 2011, and Mubarak was ousted from office after an 18-day revolution that centered on Cairo's Tahrir Square. 2 months later, he was the first autocrat to face trial in the wake of the Arab Spring, and he was charged with complicity in protesters' deaths and the theft of state money. Initially, Mubarak was sentenced to life in prison alongside his interior minister and 6 aides. However, his fortune has ebbed and flowed with post-revolution political changes in Egypt. He was first moved from prison to a hospital because of concerns about his health. In 2014, a court cited technical flaws in his prosecution to dismiss charges related to the death of protesters. In March, Mubarak, who is now 89, was freed from hospital detention and moved to his mansion in Heliopolis, an upscale northern suburb of Cairo. His sons are frequently seen around the city, despite being convicted of stealing millions from the state. Libya. Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi was long one of the Arab world's most infamous and unpredictable figures. After seizing power in 1969, he became known as an iconoclastic pan-Arabist who supported terrorism plots against the West with Libya's oil wealth, most notoriously, the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland, which killed 270 people. But later, he became a key U.S. ally in the fight against al-Qaeda. When anti-government rallies hit Libya in February 2011, Gaddafi responded with characteristic brutality. Thousands of civilians were killed. NATO intervened in response, helping turn the tide of the rebels against the regime. Gaddafi was killed October 20, 2011, in murky circumstances. The interim Libyan government initially said he was killed in an exchange of gunfire, but video footage soon emerged showing a bloody and apparently unarmed Gaddafi being violently forced into a truck. Many Western powers were dismayed by Gaddafi's violent death as they had hoped that he could be placed on trial. His family's grip on Libya has dramatically loosened since his death, with his sons living in exile or in jail. However, with the country still engulfed in post-revolution political turmoil, a cousin, Ahmed Gaddaf al-Dam, has pushed for reconciliation.